Hello everybody, my name is CulBlu and I'm bringing out this video of me playing a board game, and today I'm going to be playing Rolling Heights by John Sinclair, or John Clare, wow, not John Sinclair, sorry. This game is a city building game. I've been on or John D. Sinclair, or John D. Clare. But I've been on kind of a run to find city building board games. So first and foremost, let me start the music in the background. This is a random playlist, so I cannot make any promises that this is going to be as thematic for like city building. Might be a little more intense. I apparently need more music sets. But at any rate, we had the music playing in the background, so it's not too quiet. And this game is a city building game, and I'm going to be playing the solo version of it. The solo version is pretty competent. It allows me to just kind of get in and build the city and move on with life, so that's pretty fun. There's some special scoring elements that involve this game, but for the most part, I'm essentially trying to roll to get resources, and I'm rolling meeples and not dice. That's a cool mechanic about it. But I'm rolling meeples to get resources, and then from there, I'm trying to use those resources to build cities and build different tiles, and those tiles will unlock certain things for me, like more meeples, points, and also the fun stuff. The goal is to have more points in the opponent, and I will be playing the purple player. The opponent will be playing the green player. Actually, no, I lied. I will be playing the purple player, and the opponent will be playing the yellow player. And I'll find something else to mark the time. I guess we'll use green to mark the time. It's not that hard to see on the map and everything. So, what we have here is we have just kind of things set up. Oh, also, sorry, this is a tile drawing game to where you draw tiles and usually fill these two columns. Instead of doing a tile, because you have to place them all face down and shuffle them and everything, there's only two sets of tiles, level 1, level 2s, so I have them in little bags, so little makeup bags, and that's what I do for a lot of my tile laying games or tile pulling games, if you ever see me play any board games or anything like that. But inside these boxes we have the pieces. So these are what we use to kind of claim the tiles that we're building, or to show that we are the ones who built it as we go through. And the main thing is, relax that music a little bit, it's getting a little bit too antsy there, is that essentially we use these to show what tile we built. So I'm going to be playing the purple player, and my opponent, the bot, is going to be playing the yellow player. The bot is known as the mayor in the solo version. So I'll put their pieces over here. And like I said, these are for all intents and purposes unlimited. And then next thing I'll do with the setup, after I have our pieces set, so I'm playing purple player, my opponent's playing yellow, is I'll take these tiles here that come with the game, and these tiles are numbered 1 through 6, and I'm going to place these on each of these pieces. So the board is usually comprised of 6 different pieces, as you see here. I'm playing on the A side since I'm setting up for like a 2-player game, but because I'm playing solo, I'm going to put these on the board. I'm just going to go clockwise with this being 1 and this being 6. So 1, this is 2, 3, then 4, kind of doesn't matter where that goes, to be honest, and then 5 and 6. So each of these boroughs, each of these neighborhoods, or boroughs, or whatever you want to call them, each of these are numbered, and they're based on the actual tile that it's on. So the number 1 neighborhood is just these 6 squares there, the number 6 is these, and so on and so forth. Okay, cool. So that's the next thing you do. The next thing you do is you take pieces out. Well, actually, let's don't do that part yet. The next thing you do is you go ahead and set up the advertisements. So I'm going to take these advertisements. I'm going to draw 3 of these randomly. So I'm shuffling them in my hands without looking at anything. And I'm just going to do that one and those 2. And these are special scoring conditions. I'll read these out because they're going to be pretty small on the screen there. But those are in-game scoring conditions, things that we can score extra points from, both me and the bot. So that's the thing to look out for. The next thing is that for me as an individual player, is I'm going to have these targets. These targets are extra sources of points for me as a player. And these targets are pretty nice because they'll allow me another way to score points. I'll have 2 of these. At the end of the game, I have to pick 1 to score from. I do not score from both, so I did play it improperly on my own time, but I learned better. So take that one and that one. And my targets will give me another way to score points, as I mentioned before. Put the rest away. The bot does not get any targets, as far as I understand it. And then the next thing we do is we take all these wild tiles or victory point tiles. I'm just going to dump them out and put them in one of these boxes, because I only really need one box. And these boxes come with the game, by the way. These are what you roll your meeples in. This game can play up to 4 players, so everybody gets a box top or a box bottom to roll their stuff in. It's a pretty good concept. I like it. I'm a fan. Hence, I'm playing the game. Actually, that's not true. I'm not always a fan of the games I play. I mean, you know, I played some games that I'm not the biggest fan of, or have become less of a fan of after playing a few more times. I'll put these wild tokens over here to the side. These remaining tokens, I don't need these. We're playing 2-player game. These meeples, you can normally separate these and put them in a pile if you want to. It's up to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this all and just throw them in a box. That's fine enough. I'll put them over here with the bot player since they don't really need that much space. They just need to hold their pieces there. And the other thing is you'll need a D6 when you're playing solo. So you'll need a D6. So don't forget to go get a D6. And then finally, when you're playing solo, I don't know if this is when you're playing 2 players or when you're playing solo only. But when you're playing solo, I'm going to remove 25 of each resource, not including the orange ones. And the game end trigger for this game comes in when one of this pile of resources runs out. Once that happens, you play one more round, building like normal, with all the resources. All the resources are basically unlimited at that point. And then you can, and then you end the game. So we're going to remove a certain number. For a 2-player game, we're removing 25 of each resource, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But that's what the game says, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna count out 25. This is 5. This is so this resource is glass. This is 10, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25. All right. So these are resources that we have. The orange will stay. The orange is not available until the game or until the resources run out. That's the very last resource you start using to fill in for any blank resources or empty resources. And then you take out 25 of these concretes, if I'm not mistaken. So I have 2 of these trays. I'll just use one of these to hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. This is 15. Oh, shoot. 20, and then finally 25. Alright. So I need the rest of these. And for the blue one, same thing. Well, let's just do the brown ones first. I think this is 25 from last time I played. Let me see. This is... Oh, and this game tray I'm using, by the way, if you're curious about it, this is the GameGenic, man, what's the GameGenic something tray? I made a YouTube video about it. It's pretty neat. I have an excessive number of these. As somebody has pointed out in the comments of that video, you can actually 3D print these if you really wanted to. I don't have a 3D printer, so I'm not one of those people who will 3D print it. Also, I mean, it costs $15. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. You can definitely build your own storage solutions. But to have the removable trays is pretty nice. In some games, it works fantastic for. Some games, it's not nearly enough for. So for instance, in a game like Imperial Assault, Star Wars Imperial Assault, this is great because you can use it to kind of hold some of the miscellaneous chits that you use. But in a game like Castles of Burgundy, oh my gosh, this has nowhere near enough trays to hold to all the stuff in Castles of Burgundy, the board game. So it's kind of hit or miss. Another game that it fits for is Red Cathedral. It works well for Red Cathedral. And this is not a paid advertisement, I promise. This is just me talking about some of the games that I've used these trays for. It has not made a game like Red Cathedral hit the table more often, because Red Cathedral's fun, but I really want to play with people because of how the rondel system works in that game. But I'll probably do a playthrough eventually, sometime in the future. Is that 20? Oh, I lost count. Shoot. This looks like 15. This is 5. Oh, and part of the reason why I'm showing the setup for this in the playthrough video is just so if you're going to play a solo, you'll know how to set it up too. Just because I'm going to do kind of a light teach of the game. There's not a ton of rules in the game, but I did find it frustrating that a few of the videos that I watched, because I usually try to watch videos to get an idea of the game first and how to play the game, and then I'll go back and go through the rulebook as I'm playing. But a lot of some of the videos, not a lot, but some of the videos that I watched, they just like literally just went straight to playing the game. It's like, okay, how do the rules work? And what am I supposed to do? Oh my gosh, how do you set it up? So I'm gonna, do the thing of create the thing that I wish existed. And here I am. Okay. So those resources set up, remember you take out 25 of each, except for the orange ones, put those to the side, because the orange you use once you run out of resources at the very end, when the end game is triggered. This is my box to roll in. So just another thing too, I had the board set up the board is somewhat modular, so I had the board kind of set up to be convenient for filming on the above shot with the space that I have. Normally the board like this would actually fit perfectly here, or will actually fit perfectly here. And then these two rails would go on either side, and you'll have the tiles on the side. It's a very nice together board. I like the fact that the pieces are modular, they're double-sided, so there's A side and B side. The B side you use if you're playing with more people, but on the A side you use if you're playing with 2 players. So that's why I have all these. And yeah, it's pretty good production value. I'm like a fan of it, although it better be for $80. Just gonna throw it out there. The game is not cheap. Nowhere near the concepts are cheap in my opinion. Anyway, really worth it though in my opinion. But I spend a lot of money on board games, so I've kind of justified the cost. I'm like, okay, is this game more than $200? All right, maybe I'll think about not buying it. Okay, cool. My complaints aside, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into this bag. I'm gonna shuffle these tiles as best I can. These are all the level 1 tiles in this green bag. Like I said, normally this is a tile laying game, and the tiles will be face down. So these would normally be in like a face down stack if you have them, but I highly recommend playing tile laying games like this, where you have to shuffle the tiles or randomize the tiles by throwing them into a bag. Makeup bags, apparently they're very common for folks who like to utilize makeup, or who purchase makeup or buy makeup, and sometimes you can go to thrift stores and get them for pretty cheap too. I should make an accessories video. I feel like I'm plugging a lot of accessories here. Maybe I will. Actually, I take it back. I have made an accessories video. I just never released it. So I'll go re-record that since I have more accessories to talk about. Alright, and last thing to do is, like I said, I'm setting up the tiles here. These tracks will normally be on either side of the board. But this is the level 1 track, level 2 track, as you can see there. Very little small text. And I'm just kind of setting this up now. And then we'll move on to everything else. Okay, there we go. It's all set up. And we are almost ready to get started. Okay. So now that we have that, we have everything set up for our solo player game. We have the numbers set out for the board, so that way the bot will know, or the AI will know where to activate. We have the 2 tracks set up. As I said before, this board is modular. I've kind of broken down the board to kind of be more spacious and convenient for me while I'm recording. But normally these will be on the side of the board and it'll look pretty nice and all together, but we're taking advantage of that modularity, because why not? Down here we have the score track, and we have the 3 advertisements I mentioned before. The advertisements are in-game scoring conditions that can give you some additional points. You do score points actively through the game, which is pretty fun. And the way the bot scores, I'll explain that here in a second after I scooch this up. This is never gonna be straight because it's like the angle of the camera, but I will try. Gosh darn it. Within reason. And yeah, so you need your dice. I got my dice. We got our stuff set up. Here's our counter for the round counter. I'm playing the purple player. My opponent's playing the yellow player. This green one, like I said, is a time counter. I had the purple dice, so I'm just gonna stay with the purple player because I've been playing the purple player for a while. So these scoring conditions, I'll go ahead and read them out. This one says score 4 points per neighborhood, where you have the tallest completed building. What that means is that in each of these 6 boards, each of these 6 boroughs or neighborhoods, as it's called, if I had the tallest building, then I get 4 points for that region, and I can get it up to 6 times. Same for my opponent. So I want to have the tallest building in each region. This one gives me 5 points per completed set of parks, houses, industry, and businesses or offices, whatever the other symbol is. So by having a set of 4, I can get 5 points per, so I can score that multiple times. This last one says, for completed houses, gain 1 point per completed park, house, or water. That's a great way to score some points. My gosh, there's gonna be a lot of points coming out of that. So houses are apparently the place to go. And then for my secret scoring objectives, these targets, normally these will be secret. You would not show these to other players. But my secret ones, because I'm playing solo, I'll just let you know. At the end of the game, I'll choose one of these to score from. I do not score from both. But this one here says score 1 point per cube of yours at height 4. Greater than or equal to 4 in completed buildings. So if I have a building, as far as I know, well, there's also, I want to mention too, in the rulebook, there's also a section that explains what some of the scoring conditions do. Not all of them. I think it's missing like maybe 1 or 2. Where is the targets? Okay, well, it's in here. Let me see if I can find it. It should be in the back. Oh, there it is. It's right there. Yeah, so for some of these, not all of them. So like this one, 3, 7, 8, 10, and 13, it talks about. It doesn't talk about number 4. This one's number 4. I guess you're trying to say number 4 is self-explanatory. But number 4 says per cube. Oh, number 4 says per cube in your building height at 4 greater than or equal to 4. So if my building is a height of 6, then every cube that goes above 6 equal to or greater than 4, I get 1 point per. So if a building a height 6 means that I'll get a point for the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. So I get 3 points for building of height 6. And then this other one is 3 points per cube at height 6. Sorry, greater than or equal to 6 in your completed buildings. So this one's a similar thing, but it just gives me more points for being higher. Taller buildings are not necessarily rare, but they're a little bit harder to build, of course, because there's a lot more resources you need to go into it. So yeah. I don't know which one of those I'll be scoring, but we'll talk about those when we get to it. Okay, and the final thing for me to do, there's another thing I need to do. What was it? Oh, yeah. I need to grab my starting meeples. So I get 2 carpenters and then 2 concrete people. I don't know what their names are. And, oh, also, sorry, I have a starting level 1, so I can choose any of these level 1s. I can choose and then place anywhere I want, ignoring all placement rules, except for if I place it on, or I cannot place on spots with a cost. So just to go over the map since we're here, this map has a lot of different places. This spot, it costs me nothing to put it there, put anything there. This spot, if I put one of these 2 matching things there, I'll get that point. So if I put a house here, then I'll get 1 point. If I put a park here, I get 1 point. But if I put a factory there, which is a different type of symbol, there's 4 different types of buildings, actually 5 different types of buildings, I do not get the points, but I can still place it there. For these ones that require cubes, essentially when I place it there, I must pay those cubes. When I place the plot or the plan there, I must pay those cubes immediately to actually get it there. And those cubes can be any of the 4 resources we have over here, because note, the orange ones don't exist. Actually, let me just move these off the screen. I have each of these 4 resources will basically qualify for that, or money that I generate, which I can generate from the pink meeples, which we'll talk about once we actually see some of those. And then finally, oh no, yeah, water. I can't put anything on the water. At least not, I'm assuming there's maybe an expansion where you can put stuff in the water. That'll be great. That'd be kind of neat, but we'll see how the game progresses over its lifetime. Okay, so starting off with the first one, I know that I had these meeples. I guess I'll explain this rule now. So in the normal course of the game, what you'll do is you'll take your meeples. You take up to 10 in your hand at a time. So if you have 20 meeples total, which can happen towards the end of the game, you'll roll 10 at a time. And when you roll them, you'll look at how they landed. Any meeple that landed flat is considered tired. They don't count for anything yet. And then any meeple that's standing up or on their side. So this meeple happened to land standing up, which it's a little bit difficult to tell from your angle, but they did. They landed standing up, as in here's the ground, they landed like that. Then that person counts for double resources. This one will give me 2 brown cubes, essentially. If the meeple landed on their side or upside down or like that, once again, assuming this is the floor, assuming this is the ground or the bottom of the box, then they'll give me 1. And if the meeple landed flat like this, so, you know, not any of those other ones I talked about, then they count for nothing. So the rule is, and I'm not gonna keep this rule, but the rule is that you would keep rolling until at least half of your meeples are standing up. So in this case, I have 4 meeples, 1 is standing or is not tired. Then that means I need to roll again, or I get to roll again for free without penalty. And then I roll again, and this one also, or these, okay, so this one stood up, which is great. And this one landed on the side, like so. And now at this point, because I have more than half of my meeples, greater than or equal to half of my meeples are standing, then I can choose to, if I want to roll again, but at a risk. Meaning that if I roll again, all my remaining meeples that are left that I rolled, if they all land flat like this, then they go on strike, or I bust, is what the go on strike is what the game calls, so I'm going to call it going on strike. So they go on strike. When they go on strike, what happens is, let's assume that I rolled this and it landed like that and then went on strike. I'm going to lose half of my meeples rounded down. So in this case, I had 3 meeples. I'm going to lose half rounded down, so 1 total. I lose half my meeples rounded down, my choice, so I'm going to lose that guy, of course. I get a wild token as compensation, and then I must use what I have here. So wild tokens can count for any of the resources, and they're also worth 1 point at the end of the game. Also, wild tokens can be carried over round to round, something I didn't know until my second or third playthrough. And yeah, I just go for that. So in this case, I would end up getting 4 brown cubes and 1 wild. At the end of my turn, those brown cubes I have, if I did not spend them, then they go back into the resources for the game. So I lose them. I don't get to hold on to those round to round. Wild tokens are pretty nice because I can hold on to those round to round. I can let those stack up. So yeah. So as you can see, if I had more meeples, which the meeples will do different things, so I'm just going to grab a generic handful here. Let's assume that this is what my meeples look like. And I can earn meeples by finishing buildings. But let's say this is what my hand of meeples looks like. Let's make sure we're going to have 10. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so we have 12 meeples. So I have 12 meeples. I get to choose which 10 I'm going to roll. I'm going to do these 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say I chose those 10. So these 2 have not been rolled yet. I'm going to roll. And after I roll any standing meeples, and you can see my roll, but I'm going to take it to the side so I can actually see it myself. There we go. So these 2 were successful. The rest of them will end up laying face down. Then I'm going to draw back up to 10, essentially. So these 8 plus these 2, and then roll again. And you pretty much get the picture. Once I get to half, which in this case I had 12, so once 6 or more are standing, then I'm at risk of possibly losing things if I fail my roll. I know I said I wasn't going to do a teach, but I guess apparently I'm teaching this game because it's not that hard to teach. Okay, cool. So I'm glad that we're all caught up on that. All right, so now we have all that. I got my starting meeples. These can go away. The bot's ready. The bot does not get a starting location, but I do. And that's kind of it. So in this first one, I get to choose any of these locations, any of these level 1 locations. I do want to try, and given what we have here, because I do want to start getting some pretty tall buildings, or just getting some houses as well. Let's see, are there any showing tall buildings? So on each of these tiles, and I'll bring this up to the screen so we can actually see it together. On these tiles we have some requirements. And this one we see 7, 3, 2, 2. That means that I need a stack of 7 blues, a stack of 3 blues, a stack of 2 clears, and 2 clears in those respective spots. And once those are all done, then I get the rewards at the bottom. The bottom rewards in this one will give me 13 points. It'll give me a green meeple, which does a thing, and a purple meeple, or pink meeple, which does another thing. And those are all kind of printed on the tiles, so different rewards, different stuff. Oh, also, if you look to the, whoops, if you look to the side of it, there's a type. That building type is a landmark, I think that's what it's called, or a public building, something like that. Conversely, if we look at something like a park or a house or a factory, they have different symbols, they have different things. This one down here, this I can't see that, card estates or grand estates. The grand estates, I can get either a pink or a clear when I finish it. The fairgrounds will give me, it says get 2 points per adjacent house. Oh, sorry, get 2 points per house within 2 spaces. Nice. That says 3 spaces. Is it? Yeah, it says. All right, sorry. Get 2 points for each completed house within 3 spaces. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to be completed or not. I've been playing completed. I'm going to keep playing completed. I don't think it counts if it's not completed, because otherwise it will be a little bit too strong. So that's how I'm going to keep playing it. But feel free to let me know in the comments or in the Twitch chat if you're watching if I'm wrong on that, because I might be wrong on that. At any rate, those are different type of buildings. They get different rewards. Just kind of give you some insight on the variety, because it is kind of small. So one of the complaints about this game is that it's a little bit hard to see across the table, but it happens. All right, finally, we are only what, 24 minutes in. Oh boy. Well, the playthrough shouldn't take that long, so I guess we're going for a 2-hour video here. So my starting location will definitely be the Ainsley Lofts. And I'm going to place this on some spot that's going to give me points and kind of set me up for some stuff. I do want to be near water because it's going to give me some good points. A peninsula would be nice, but I have to like, kind of build out. Those are some 2-point house. Oh, there's no factories. Can I do anything with the factory? I could. Man, I really want a house though. Alright, fine. Let's do this factory here. Do I have that resource? I do. So we'll go for the muddy PJ's junkyard. No, I need glass. I need glass pretty badly. Alright, Ainsley's Lofts it is. So we're going to go for Ainsley's Lofts since it's a little bit further down the track and a little bit harder to get later on. We're going to go ahead and start with this one. This is going to give me a glass builder, which allows me to get the clear resource, which I kind of want. It is a house, so I'm going to choose to try to put it in a house spot that's going to give me some points, or 8 points at least. And it looks like I only got one contender, to be honest. That's kind of here. So I put it there. It's a house. A house or parks will give me 1 point, so I put it there. I get a point. So I got my first point of the game. And that's it. Oh, also put my little thing here. The way I do it, even when you play when I play in person, is I put this upside down. When you finish a building, this will go on top of the building. Any of the peaks you choose to show that you own it. But to show that I haven't finished it, I'm gonna put it upside down, so it's maybe a little bit easier for you to see that I haven't finished it yet, or that something's not finished. All right, cool. Now, normally, whenever I take a piece from over here, because that's one of the things I can do for my turn once per turn for free, normally I'll have to pay the cube cost. In this case, I have to pay 3 resources. But because that was my very first tile, I get to ignore that. There's another way for me to get free tiles and free placements without having to pay stuff, which is pretty nice. But we'll talk about those when they show up later. All right, I'm just gonna do this. There we go. Yeah. Okay, cool. Finally, we've done all that, and I'll explain how the bot... Oh, okay, I'll explain now since before we get fully started. One more thing to explain. So the bot, on the bot's turn, what's going to happen is the first thing you do is you roll this dice. For rounds 1 through 6, because I'm playing on normal, rounds 1 through 6, they're going to roll once. Sorry, rounds 1 through 5, I'm going to roll once. Rounds 6 through 11, they're going to roll twice. So they're going to go 2 turns in a row, the bot is. And then around 12 and higher, they're going to roll 3 times. So they're going to go 3 times in a row. And the logic of the bot is pretty neat. What's going to happen is we're going to roll the dice for the bot. We're going to check that location, which in this case is a 5. It's a D6 that I'm rolling. We're going to check the 5 location. The question is, does the bot have something built here? Yes or no? The answer is no. So therefore, the bot's going to take one of these tiles based on a 3-point scale. So this is level 1, level 2, level 3. Or sorry, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 based on the dice. So this is going to be 5, 6. So they're going to take this tile specifically based on this roll, and they're going to try to put it in the middle. If it's not legal to put in the middle, then I get to choose as the person controlling the bot to either put it in an adjacent legal spot. So in this case, if I put it here, the bot does not have to pay any of this, but they're going to get 4 points if it matches, which it does. So I'm going to choose to put it here instead. And then the bot would get the building like so. And on their initial placement of a tile, if they have not built anything on it yet, the bot is going to put 3 resources total, on top of the building. If the bot completes a building, or when the bot completes a building, they're going to get 1 point for every piece that went into that building. So for instance, if the bot had taken and finished this building, the bot's going to score 6 points. That's what that means. Because there's 6 pieces that went into building this tile, constructing that tile. Subsequently, if the bot were to take this piece instead, this level 2 piece, and finish it, they're going to get 14 points because there's 14 cubes that go into building that. So the bot essentially burns cubes and also scores points based on how many resources went into their buildings, and that's the timer that I'm against, basically. Additionally, so we're going to go ahead and put that there, and the bot's going to get the resources. They're going to get whatever resource they need, and they're going to finish that one. So now the bot's going to score 1 point. Now, let's say I rolled again. This is their next turn, and I rolled again. I rolled 5 again. If I rolled and the bot has a building in that location, what's going to happen is they're going to get a level 2 building from here on out for this location. So they're going to get a level 2 building. They're going to get it based on that. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. Oh, before we complete that, the bot purchased this tile. So that means they skip these two. Whenever you skip these bottom two and go for anything higher, you're going to put a wild token. This is important because the bot can also score wild tokens. They'll get 1 point at the end of the game per wild token. So I just want to clarify that. And then these would fill in by shuffling down, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to put all this back in a second. So the bot's going to grab a level 2. They rolled a 5 in our hypothetical scenario. So they're going to take this one, and they're going to, again, force these 2 wild tiles to be here because they skipped those 2. And just to clarify, that's only when you skip exactly these 2. If you take this one, so let's say that these are not here, and I take this one instead, I do not put a wild token here for the one I skipped over. So just to clarify. Okay, so let's say the bot took this one, the bot's going to take this one, they're going to put it... similar concept, but kind of adjacent to what they already have. So they're going to put it there, and then they're going to put 3 tiles to it. So they're going to put 3 tiles or 3 cubes to it. In this case, they're going to put 3 of these concretes that they need. And then finally, let's say that the bot is going to, let's say the bot goes a 3rd time for some reason, and they rolled a 5 again. What's going to happen at this time, if they have a building in progress that is not completed on a location, this happens even if they have a level 1, they're going to put 12 tiles to that building. 12 total tiles to that building. And if they finish it, they score the points. If they, and then any leftover tiles, it just goes away. Any leftover cubes go away. But they're going to score their points like normal and move on. So I think it's a pretty neat system overall. This turned more into a tutorial than a gameplay. So I guess I should probably cut my losses here and just cut the video here and then start over with the full playthrough. So that way we can kind of keep those separate. So yeah, okay, cool. All right, wasn't in the plan, but we're gonna go ahead and do that because I do want to make sure that people who want to just see the gameplay can see the gameplay, and those who want to kind of get more of a how do you play this game can get that. But that's essentially what happens. The only things that I didn't explain are basically what all these do down here. I will leave those up to you to define and find. My apologies for being a little bit obtuse on that, but it's gonna take me even longer to explain those. So that's pretty much it for this video, since we're making this 2-parter. So go ahead and check out the next video if you want to go ahead and see me do the full playthrough. If you're watching live, I am going to do the playthrough immediately after. I'm just restarting the recording so I can start fresh. And yeah, so thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. And as always, I will see you all whenever.